What up, nerds, and welcome to another spicy episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name is Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode 433, recorded on Sunday, July 22nd, 2023. Tonight we're talking about the winner of the June poll, which was Paprika from 2006. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got your boy Randy Z. What's up, man?
How's it going, buddy? Good to talk to you. Good to see you. How's it holding up?
Holding up well. This was your poll takeover month. So
yeah, it was.
It's all about you today, Diddy.
Oh, boy, I can feel it, too. I really feel how today is all about me.
It's an all Randy episode. Get ready for it.
This is just my id on audio recording right now. That's all this is.
Hell yeah. Last but not least, calling in from Seoul, South Korea, we got your boy Soju. What's up, man?
Oh, what up? It's your boy Senpai Stains. Sumimasen, that's Japanese, right, Bob? You've been there, all the Japanese, don't you?
I basically am Japanese now. I was there for like a week, so I'm fluent. And
you remember all the places in this movie, right? In Japan?
Yeah, I saw all of them.
All these places? Yeah, the jungle.
I know the jungle. I lived there for a while.
Yes, the jungle of Japan.
Yes.
Randy, how excited are you to talk about drawings tonight?
I gotta be honest with you, I don't feel too excited about anything right now. I'm a little under the weather, so if my energy is low, that's why. But yeah, no, I am excited.
Randy, come on, pick it up.
Cocaine?
I should get some cocaine. That seems like the only solution available, really.
We should all get cocaine.
Spicy.
And yeah, I don't know. Like I am psyched to talk about this. This was my takeover month. My poll pick. I picked 3 animated films, and this one handily won. So I was excited to see this one because it's definitely just one that was not fully on my radar. So yeah, I think we should get into it.
Nice. Let's get all over that radar. But before we do, let's tackle a little bit of housekeeping real quick.
All right.
Here's another reminder. We do have our August poll currently posted on our Patreon website. If you support us at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're talking about this August. The theme for August is robot murder. The 3 movies to vote on are The Terminator, RoboCop, and Prometheus.
Whoa, Bomb. How those numbers looking? Prometheus still winning.
Yep, stomping some dick.
Why did you ask for the numbers?
just going through the motions.
It's just fucking.
Shut up, Bob. Let me answer this for you.
Terminator.
Bob Juice. How are those numbers looking?
Ask yourself in the third person. Terminator came up a little bit,
myself.
But not too much. Not enough.
Okay. Well, that's weird, but whatever. Bob tried to rig a poll, and try to get some classics in there. He failed, so that's okay.
I got fucked. You got a little over a week left to vote on it. Get your votes in, and we'll see what we're talking about this August.
Nice.
We dropped a mini cast last Friday. If you support us at the $10 level or above, you get access to a whole back catalog of Patreon exclusive episodes. This was number 103, I think, so we got a shitload on there.
Damn.
I was talking about Candyland last Friday. It's a new horror movie, came out in January of this year. It's kind of an interesting...
from Bounty Land.
Damn, throwback.
That is fucking
Took me
great.
a second. My brain was like, wait a second.
I recognize those lyrics from that glorious
Dude, I definitely recognize those lyrics.
Some of the best
We used to
lyrics in all
bump
of pop
that.
music.
From
Late nights, late night drives.
It's weird late night drives.
And it's very
It doesn't
topical.
come normal when you're playing that shit.
With Barbie being out,
It's
Barbie
right
was awkward
right on
too.
topic.
Yeah.
Hey, Pop, tell us about the movie Candyland now.
Candyland.
Now that I'm done derailing us.
It's a cool take on a slasher movie that you should totally check out.
Is it about the board game?
No, it's about a group of prostitutes or sex workers that are living at a truck stop, and they're doing their thing, and people start dying, and you're trying to figure out.
That doesn't sound as nice as the board game.
It's not.
Is it like an inversion of Joyride? Because the candy canes rise up against our boy.
Not
Rusty
quite.
Nail.
Not exactly.
That's a shame. That's a goddamn shame.
That's a motherfucking shame.
Should have been a prequel.
It should have been like Steve Zahn in full drag fighting back with his
should
prostitution
have been
clan.
You're right.
That should have been what it was.
Especially now that Steve Zahn's like in his 60s or whatever. That would be that'd make a lot of sense.
Steve Zahn's like the progression of that character has been very, 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 very rugged terrain he's had to traverse these last 20 years.
I am Candy Cane. Just murdering
That's
folks with candy
we
canes.
need to write.
All right, let me call my boys on right now.
Got it.
I'll get him on the horn.
Hey, Steve.
We are dropping another minicast. August 4th is going to be the next one, and I'm talking about Wrath of Becky, which is another solid movie that you should watch.
Nice. I still haven't seen that original one.
Check them out.
Actually, I think I was listening to an episode recently, though, where you were talking about Becky, maybe. That's weird.
Yeah.
It just popped in my mind.
Sometimes I'm just talking. You can't shut me up. Just talking.
Sometimes.
Thank God, somebody's got to.
God damn. Audio podcast.
Shut the fuck up.
Love it. In other Patreon news, we do have a brand new Patreon supporter. We got to give some mad shouts outs to your boy Drew M. Thank you so much for signing up on Patreon and showing us some love. All the money you guys contribute goes right back into the show. It really helps us keep this thing rolling. As is tradition around these parts, we owe Drew the straight chilling salute. This one goes out to you.
Slap me in the ass.
Thank you.
Ooh.
Man,
Thank you,
our
Drew.
asses have
We
been
appreciate
nice
it.
and smacked these past few weeks.
Hell yeah.
Hurt red, rosy.
Slap the
The
shit
way
out of
we
us.
like them.
Yeah,
Extra sloppy.
I guess.
I don't know. That's your preference, not mine. I'm not going to sign up for that.
That's
one.
your problem. It sounds like.
Sloppy Joe asses is my fucking problem.
It is not in the file.
Oh,
Mine is not sloppy.
Boy, that is all the Patreon news we got. Juice, you got anything you want to plug?
Well, I mean, we did just drop a bonus episode last Friday. That was our wrap up of the Be Fun Film Festival. We have one more thing specific to Be Fun that's coming out this Friday. That's going to be one more interview that I did with another director, Weijun Cho, who is the director of Hungry Ghost Diner out of Malaysia. That's going to be coming out this Friday, and that's probably all the Be Fun coverage, like total. I think that's going to be mostly it. Maybe a couple more things coming out on YouTube, just like some Q&As that I was able to be a part of or like visit or something like that. But our main like talking about coverage or review coverage, I think that's going to be it. So yeah, it's one more piece coming out this weekend. I had a really great chat with him. He's like a really nice guy. He made a really cool movie that I've really enjoyed this year. I've seen it a few times actually. And yeah, it's just a fun chat. So that's going to be coming out this Friday, and we will be finally finished with Be Fun. So also shouts outs to everyone who came out to our Summer Chills event that happened this past Saturday night at the DCC Cafe in Seoul. It was a lot of fun. We did a double feature. We watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Whispering Corridors. We wanted to split it up, one English movie, one Korean movie. But as I was playing Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I realized like maybe I should have played this one second because it's a board game cafe. So we had like a section for the film and everything like that. There were still like a few people playing like some games. And I realized that Texas Chainsaw Massacre is just a lot of screaming and fucking chainsaws.
Oh, you realized that, huh?
And I was like, oh,
I caught
fuck.
up with you.
Yeah, so it was pretty funny actually, because there was just this one group that had like a group of kids, and one time they like had to go to the bathroom, so they like scoot by. I thought they were leaving. I thought the parents were like taking them out, but actually they like came back. I think there's just like a bathroom break. It was like cracking me up, but yeah, it was fun. A lot of people that came had never seen the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Nice.
So that was kind of a proud moment for me.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, this one's fucking one of the best.
How did they feel about our boy Franklin? Are they heartbroken?
So we did a double feature. We took like a little 30-minute break in between the movies, got some food, got some drinks and stuff like that. We didn't specifically talk about Franklin. We were talking about some other horror films, Park Chan-wook and Godzilla's and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'll have to get back with them on old Franklin, but nobody cheered
send out
when
a
he
survey
died except for me. Yeah.
Except for me.
Franklin,
But
yay or nay?
people were like crazy, especially when he does his freak out in the house of like, the spit takes or whatever. Yeah, people were digging on that, cracking up. So shouts outs to Angel too. She won the raffle, and she also, I remember last year, won trivia or was part of the team that won trivia. So she's fucking killing it. She won the raffle this weekend. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. So thanks everyone for coming out. It was a lot of fun just hanging out, kind of kicking off the spooky season for me too. And it was a dark, rainy night and just hanging out with everyone, having some good drinks, watching scary movies. So thanks everyone for coming out. It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Ray
and Deezy, you got anything?
Yeah, just a couple things. So that episode of Light and Shadow podcast that I was fortunate to guest on, reviewing The Mist with our buddy Nicole, that is out now. She also did me the courtesy of sending me a Blu-ray copy of The Mist that has the black and white version that I missed out on. And I've gotten to see that. And that is basically my What You Been Watching section. So there you go.
Nice. How was it? Did it live up to your hype?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, like it was maybe I built it up a little bit in my head because I had just watched this movie. So like some of that impact was already kind of dulled, but I feel like that's going to be the edition I watch next time around, next time I get the urge for sure. It's pretty cool. I like that. I mean, it just suits that movie so well. And then speaking of black and white and speaking of guesting on podcasts, got word today that as we sit here recording this, my friend and yours, Caitlin, over at Plug It Up Podcast is editing that Whatever Happened to Baby Jane episode of Plug It Up, which I was on, and we got to talk about Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, one of my favorite older sort of thrillery, psychological thriller movies. We had a lot of fun, so keep an ear out for those two things, those guest spots. That's it for me, though.
Nice.
Hollywood Randu.
Last thing I want to mention real quick is thanks for everybody who hung out this past Friday for our Joe Bob watch party. It was the season 5 finale. So we're wrapped up for Joe Bob for this season, probably until October, when I'm sure he's going to do another Halloween special of some sort. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. Information coming soon, I'm sure.
He closed out on some bangers.
Yeah, it was a zombie double feature, The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue and Day of the Dead.
Cool. Oh, Day of the Dead, Bob. That's what you've been jonesing for lately.
Dude, just beep, boner alert.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go ahead and close this segment off on that lovely note.
I was pointing to the Day of the Dead poster behind me. The house is clean.
I did.
I'm sure that came off very well on the audio podcast that we are putting out right now.
Beep. Cool. Yeah, the house is clean. Let's get into the main event. We're talking about Paprika, and we're kicking it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
All right, Bob, how many editions do you have?
Just the one.
Bob, you didn't pick up a Japanese version while you were in Japan?
I was looking for a Japanese laser disc, but they're like $8,000, so I got this lame Blu-ray instead.
Bob, I'm going back
get the top of your
soon.
physical media game.
In a couple weeks, if you got any special requests.
Buy me all the VHS so I can sell them in the States and then be rich.
No. What did you did get something in Japan while we were there last time, didn't you? What did you get?
I got the Japanese DVD version of Godzilla 98, the best Godzilla
I'm gonna pay you
movie.
$100 to fuck off.
Fuck off. And I also got a Japanese version of Halloween 2.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Some good
You
shit.
got to get a Godzilla from every country, Bob. Just
Yeah. That's
98.
That's
I
just
like
a
that.
goal that somebody should certainly have in life.
I like
I'll keep an eye out here in Korea. You know.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Is your life really complete until you have the Nordic edition of Matthew Broderick in Godzilla?
No, that's not. Paprika. Yeah, I got it on Blu-ray here. This was from 2006, rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 30 minutes. Directed by Satoshi Kon. Stars a bunch of glorious names that I'm not going to butcher. Plot synopsis brought to you by the back of the box is as follows. Prepare to enter the realm of fantasy and imagination, where reality and dreams collide in a kaleidoscopic mindscape of sheer visual genius. The magical tale centers on a revolutionary machine that allows scientists to enter and record a subject's dream. After it is stolen, a fearless detective and brilliant therapist join forces to recover the device before it falls into the hands of a dream terrorist in this gripping anime thriller from acclaimed director Satoshi Kon. Gentlemen, had you seen this before, and would you recommend people check it out? Randeezy, kick us off.
Yeah, like I said before, this was a new watch for me. I included it on this poll partially in hopes that I would get to see this. That's why it's on there. So we have seen Perfect Blue. We've reviewed that here on the podcast, and that's what certainly interested me in this, and it's the much amount of praise that I've seen for this movie, or at least notations. Lots of people talk about this movie. So, having now seen it, I would say that, yeah, I think it's probably worth a watch if you're into any level of like a good solid like feature animation, because the animation in this is pretty goddamn killer. It's a really, really fluid animation style. It's just as good, if not better, than they did with Perfect Blue, for those familiar with that. So yeah, I would recommend, but on that same level, it's also not a movie that's going to work for everybody. It's very, very confusing plotting wise. So yeah, you kind of have to be in the right. Yeah, you have to have the right flavors in your palate for this one, I think. But generally, I would say that those people who like this sort of thing are going to dig it.
Right on. Juice, what about you?
Yeah, this is a first watch for me. I had never seen this before, and it's a visual feast. It looks beautiful, and it's very interesting. Definitely, like I think maybe we mentioned this before. It might come up in the discussion and trivia, but there's definitely some scenes where you could see inspired Inception, and this was pretty interesting. And but yeah, like Randy said, this is it's like a dish that is very delicious, but also very rich, where it's I found myself, even though I was enjoying myself watching this, it was also difficult to get through because it's a lot. And I don't think this is a particularly accessible film for a lot of people, even though there's nothing too gruesome going on, or it's just like it's a little overwhelming in just everything, just a narrative, visuals, and sound design. Like it's just a lot going on. So it's kind of hard to recommend. I think this is for a particular viewer and probably someone who's already partially inclined to like watch anime or animated films like this, Japanese animated films. So I don't know, I wouldn't sway anyone from watching it, but it would be hard to just generally recommend, So, yeah. Bob, how about you? Would you recommend people check out Paprika?
Not particularly, no. It was definitely a first-time watch for me as well, and I think we all really thoroughly enjoyed Perfect Blue. So I was pretty excited to check this one out. It is beautiful, though. The movie's incredible to look at. If you're super into anime, you absolutely should watch it. But I don't know that it really paid off for me in the end. I enjoyed watching it too, though. I wasn't like a slog to get through necessarily, but I felt kind of like the juice wasn't worth the squeeze at the end for me, anyways. That sounds like a pretty not recommend. Very, very light.
Middle, light.
I think it's a medium. We've gone easier on worse films.
Last week,
medium recommend.
Medium, I think so. Yeah,
we'll give it a medium. All right. So yeah, we're gonna spoil the shit out of this movie, and here comes your warning.
Spoiler warning.
Bob, this might be one of the few times I was actively anticipating this plot synopsis. But even before the cast, I was thinking, like, how is Bob going to do this?
The fuck?
Yeah, it's it's a tough one.
So
I don't know how they wrote this story.
Me neither, honestly. That's part of my discussion.
Storyboards.
Yeah. So, all right, Bob, take it away.
All right. Hopefully this makes sense. All right. In the near future, a newly created device called the DC Mini.
Whoa, a little slower. I'm in trouble following here.
The DC Mini allows...
Speak English, Doc. We ain't scientists.
Allows the user to view people's dreams, okay? Dr. Atsuko Chiba begins using the machine illegally to help psychiatric patients outside the research facility that she works at by assuming her dream world alter ego named Paprika. She begins counseling Detective Konakawa, who has a bizarre...
Who?
Konakawa?
Okay.
I might be butchering that. Who has a bizarre recurring dream. 3 DC Minis end up being stolen, which is extremely dangerous because they're going to allow the thieves to enter anybody's dreams they want. Dr. Shima goes on a very nonsensical rant and jumps through a window, nearly killing himself. Upon examining his dream, Tokita realizes his assistant Himuro, which confirms the theft, was an inside job. When 2 other scientists fall victim to the DC Mini, the chairman, Dr. Inui, bans the use of all the devices. This fails to save the inventor of the DC Mini, Tokita. He ends up being killed. Paprika and Shima discover that Himuro, these fucking names, is only an empty shell. The real culprit is Inui, who believes that he must protect dreams with the help of Dr. Osanai. Osanai ends up capturing Paprika and confesses his love for Chiba, which is her real life person, not her dream person. Dreams and reality then begin to merge, and the dream parade that we see all throughout the movie takes to the streets, the real-life streets. Tokita, in the form of a giant robot, eats Chiba. Inui returns as a giant humanoid ghost demon thing and promises to darken the entire world. Paprika throws herself into Tokita's body, and a little baby's born. The baby sucks up Inui, who ends up growing to be this giant woman that looks kind of like Chiba and kind of like Paprika. Finally, Paprika sits next to Tokita's bedside as he wakes up, and Detective Konakawa visits a website that Paprika earlier suggested to him, where he finds a message from her recommending he end up going to the theater and watch a movie called Dreaming Kids, and he does, and he enjoys it. And there's like kind of a backstory where he didn't want to go to the movies anymore because he connected it to his partner that passed away, so it was
Skip to the end.
Part of his dream that he was working through. I don't know, that might not have made much sense, but that's roughly what
It's
happened.
okay, Bob. That's not your fault.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
So this is like I have in the past, or we have received some praise, which I take no pleasure in relaying to you now, that we are able to break down movies into kind of thoughtful segments and sort of like analyze
Not
them well.
anymore.
To whatever extent that was true, that is not true with this movie. I have no fucking idea what this movie is about. And I have nothing intelligent
really?
to add to that. Yeah,
I'll explain it to you.
Okay, all right. Thanks for explaining it to me, boss. I appreciate it.
Teach me, senpai.
This is a very strange plotted movie, and it's really weird because it's got like some like kind of like hard rules. Like it does a lot of like laying the groundwork of exposition of how things work, but then like the way that they depict things working is a little incongruous with that, or like or they'll do things without explaining it sometimes. I don't know, man. It was very hard for me to parse this in the same way like Bob, you brought up Inception. Inception was hard to parse. It took me a while to really understand what what I wanted to take out of that movie. And I'm not sure still, after seeing this just a couple days ago, that I have a solid thesis statement that I would ascribe to this movie. Do you guys feel differently than that?
Well, and Inception has definitely a lot like I feel like more grounded rules, at least, or at least it like straight up says
for
with
sure.
time and depth.
You don't have people turning into robots and
No.
babies and ghost demons and crazy fucking shit. Like,
Yeah, I mean, really, the only thing that I saw like through this was I like kind of the weaving of the idea of, because the device is created as a way to like work through therapies, like your kind of like your subconscious mind, like what is actually bothering you that you can't like face yourself, and it underlies, and in that way that stays kind of consistent through each character that we see, as the whether it's a dream or as the dreams become more alive. I feel like that stays like pretty consistent, I guess. And it is definitely the case for our main characters, being the doctor woman who discovers like her love for this guy that she works with, the detective who, you know, figures out his repressed situation with his partner and the idea of films and stuff, and even the head of the company who is paralyzed and in this way like feels like he has some control. He can like walk and things like that, and I don't know why, like he's kind of got this with that character. I think he's the kind of most confusing to me, because he has this kind of philosophy about technology, and it's almost this kind of like fear / respect for technology, where he feels it's going to be put in the wrong hands or like abused, and so he just does it, and like it's almost
so he
like
abuses it.
yeah, so it's kind of like, if anyone's gonna control it, I need to control it, because otherwise it will be controlled and abused, so I'm gonna
I think he fashioned himself into like I think that's all part of like plotting a mislead for him. Like they position him early as being just like, as he says, like just sort of anti this new technology, afraid of it falling into the wrong hands, that sort of thing. And that's fine, like, because the characters kind of need that pressure to keep the story moving along to some extent. But then when it turns around and he's like secretly like behind the whole thing, and like, I don't know, man, like I'm not sure. I think that what's happening is sort of like he, you know, somebody who has ultimate control over so much of the real world ultimately has to implement his own vision onto this, basically colonize this dream world that is suddenly shared between people. Like he's not in control of this thing, and in order to prevent other people from taking control, he takes it upon himself to control it. It's this like Team America World Police philosophy where it's like, we got to do this or else somebody else will and we'll be fucked.
It reminded me a lot of like Justin and his cooter hunting thing that he started, because like, you know, we got to find all these cooters, and then it turns out like he's actually leading the cooters at the end of the day.
Yes,
I'm leading them.
The leader of the
He's
cooters,
Captain Cooter, and it's what
how
a shock to
far
find out
he has fallen.
Well, in that way too, it also does definitely deal with the idea of kind of like how you see yourself or how you project yourself, and kind of mashing those two things, because you know the whole, I mean the film is named after this persona that this woman takes on, that she kind of uses as an excuse to say like, this is the way that I help people through their therapy. But ultimately it's, you know, as we see different people in this dreamscape world, it essentially becomes who they wish they could be, essentially. So, I mean, it is, especially a movie coming out in 2006, you know, having a world now where you have, you know, different characters in a virtual setting, and even, you know, at any beginning of a game or even on any kind of like social media, you set up some sort of profile, or you know, you have some kind of avatar or something, and it's like how you see yourself. It makes me think of that Office episode where they are in that like Second Life or whatever, where it's a virtual game, and Jim makes himself like, he just got like, he's always carrying a guitar on his back, and like Pam like makes fun of it. And it's just like, it's almost like, who do you wish you could be? And if you could, like, how would you shape yourself to project it on like a digital kind of world? So, I mean, that was interesting. That was an interesting aspect to this film.
Yeah, I was a little like thrown by that too, because like none of the other characters have like full scale alter egos, and I think that's maybe a method of her level of control over this and how she manages it. But they don't really like that. That's one of those details that you kind of have to piece together yourself if you want it to be there. I don't know. It was me laying groundwork for myself there at that point, which is weird because a lot of this movie does kind of like lay groundwork for like it just, there's just like a lot of exposition, but they can't do everything. You know what I mean? And I don't really think that's like, I don't think that that's necessarily a fault, because it's a pretty rich scenario that they've dreamt up here, and they kind of have to lay out a lot of things explicitly. But I know that they don't want to show or tell more than show as much as they do. The thing is, like, the movie starts kind of like in a dream. Like, we don't really know what the fuck is going on for a while in this movie. And but like once they start explaining it, they really start explaining it. And it's like, there's all of a sudden there's like this huge hierarchy that explains everything that we've just seen to some extent. And it's, I don't know. I'm torn about how much that helped me and hurt me. Helped me understand, but hurt me experientially. Do you know what I mean?
I think so to kind of go back to a comment you made about people not having alter egos, I think ultimately we do see alter egos. And I think that is her kind of control over it is to be implied by how much control she has of Paprika, even though we do see that blend kind of split, and Paprika at one point like becomes her own self, or the woman, we see these flashes where she's losing herself in the identity of Paprika, or wishing that was her identity. But I mean, in two cases, the big scientist guy or whatever, he ultimately becomes this kind of like giant robot. And if you think about the way he's described by other people and the way that he's kind of portrayed, like that could easily be like the way he sees himself. He excels. The only thing he like excels in is like technology. Otherwise, people describe him as very immature, very sloppy, like, and things like that. So for him to be in this dream world and to essentially just be this like giant robot, like that kind of makes sense. And then the other guy too, he essentially just becomes a giant shadow monster that is like casting the darkness over everyone. So I mean, like, we kind of do see a split.
To whatever extent you could say that, though, like Takeda's maybe the only one that seems firmly possibly that. The thing is, like, by the time he and most of the other characters are in the dream world at all, we are already seeing that they are corrupted, and it's like a confluation of other people's dreams, and they're not necessarily acting out their own dreams, but maybe other people's dreams, maybe the chairman's dreams, like that. So like some of the, to whatever extent you can sort of like apply that to those characters, I feel like it's a little confused, because it's, I'm not sure how much of that is being ascribed onto that character who is in a dream world that they don't control, somebody else is controlling. And how much is truly like a reflection of whatever their inner personality is. And we don't have enough characters to really bore that out. I don't think.
It does feel like the chairman is like in control. I mean, you find out he's like the ultimate big bad at the end, and it does seem like he's the one either in control or the one blending dreams and like implanting dreams in other people's minds. So it is difficult to suss out why almost anything is really happening. Because it's all just dream logic. It just feels like shit is being thrown at the wall, and it works visually. I mean, it's extremely compelling visually, but I don't know that I was able to pull any like real great meaning out of it at the end of the day. And it's one of those movies, like when it starts off, you really have to like hold on, and you're like, oh man, they're throwing a lot of information at you. There's an insane amount happening visually on the screen, and it's really exciting at first because you're like, holy shit, this is a train and it's going to a destination, and I can't wait to see what that destination is. And I feel like it just kind of never reaches a destination for me that felt like really satisfactory in any way, which was kind of a bummer.
Well, on the flip side, I think it does reach a destination, because ultimately, like, even when you describe like what does this all culminate to, and it culminates to this woman having this realization about this man, and as a result, in the dream world, this like child is born that overcomes the darkness, and like that's a big show off like showdown where the one good creature devours the other creature and everything is restored. So like, you know where the end is. The problem is though, is the dynamics of this movie. It's just like a big wall of sound always. You know, it's not, there's not dips, or it's like you start off and like this fucking parade starts going, and like you do, I guess, kind of have some dips where they're like explaining things, but like from a visual standpoint, like Dreamworld, it's just like always fucking going at you. So this thing that should feel like a bigger, you know, you're ramping up to it, it just feels like another bombastic scene, cacophony of fucking crazy shit. And so you know it's the end, and you're like, okay, yeah, that's the end. But because there's not any like particular dynamics to leading up to that, you're just like, you're kind of just relieved that the sound is stopped. You're kind of just like relieved, like, oh, okay, oh, I can fucking breathe now.
I would argue that this movie does lead somewhere. It leads at least to a climax, because the climax of this movie, and the part where I was like, oh, that's badass, is when the dream world and the real world start combining. And you start seeing like your dream characters, Paprika and the doctor, whatever her name is, in the same world, and having like different modes of thought, like thinking differently. Like, I think that was kind of interesting and fun. And then like just things collapsing, the doll person like breaking buildings and all, things growing and like becoming more and more insane in the real world, and showing real world impacts of that. I thought that was really cool. Now, that said, once you sort of get to the destination of that climax, I'm a little confused. It's like, I don't entirely understand what defeated the bad guy. Like, is it that the dreams of having a child between these two in love characters was stronger than this power hungry? But why? Like, I don't like, I'm sure there's a way of looking at it that makes sense. I'm sure there's a few, but I haven't that really worked for me. It would take another watch probably, and probably some more like a lot more conversation to really start like hearing other people's theories to really start like laying groundwork that I think would make sense for me. But just from that one watch, I was mostly just kind of confused by the way it ended. I understood. I'll tell you what I did understand was the story arc for the detective. His arc, I think, was great. I thought that whole like subplot that ultimately weaves itself into the regular plot, for the most part, when it's not being overwhelmed by the central plot, is pretty easy to understand and pretty cool. And like it helps me. It gives me like the understanding of the world and how it works, like without being overly expository all of the time, which sometimes happens outside of his realm as well. So I don't know. I like that, but like the central story and like the understanding of what dreams actually are at the end of the day are still very confused to me. So that's where it falls apart for me. And that said, like, I don't mind that things are very chaotic the whole time. Like, a lot of movies I like are like that. So especially because the animation in this is so fucking beautiful that like if I watch this with the sound off, I would still enjoy it. I would say probably three quarters of the way that I already enjoy it. You know what I mean? And it doesn't need to, like, it goes through its little peaks and valleys, but it's mostly like crescendo. And I'm okay with that. I think that works for a movie like this, where like the ultimate end of that crescendo is the real world, the stayed real world, and the dream world colliding in a violent situation.
Yeah. I will tell you from a visual standpoint, what I really liked, and like as opposed to kind of like what I didn't like, is I wasn't crazy about the parade where it was too much, because I wanted to live in the fantastic nature of these individual things. So what I really did like was when some of the darkest moments is where the guy becomes the tree. He stands up. That was a cool moment where he's in the wheelchair and then he comes up, but it's vines. And then when he's the whale, that was fucking cool. I love the whale coming up to like eat her or whatever. It's just really fucked up looking too. So I liked those moments where there was almost one kind of central thing that I could focus on and
that makes sense.
Really appreciate it. I wasn't crazy about the parade. But kind of going back to what I kind of took. So I was thinking about it because you were talking about the detective and I was like, yeah, that guy's things make sense. But I was like, what was it really necessary to this movie? But then I ultimately I think I landed on it. It was. And in some ways, these things kind of work as a mislead or to kind of help, I guess, what is the main story of the doctor, which is kind of clever because when we start off, it seems like her and Paprika are the ones who are trying to fix the situations. They're the therapists. They're the ones who are supposed to be helping it. And so it makes this kind of natural sense to where, oh my God, where this crime is happening in the dream world. Well, Paprika is going to be the detective or the superhero that's going to help defeat this idea. And it's kind of this mislead to say like, the fact that like we spend time with this detective and his dreams and stuff like that, and then we even get some other characters of like the little side guy, the Osani or whatever that is, the minion guy, who gets really rapey or whatever.
That guy,
the butterfly.
Yeah,
man. I'm sorry,
butterfly man. So to kind of almost like make this main character shine to show it's actually like her arc, because what we see is her projection of Paprika and the way that she feels about herself and kind of insecure in her own skin in the real world in a sense, and that people desire her or pursue her, whether in the dream world as Paprika or in the real world as the doctor. But ultimately it's kind of like her coming to the realization of her love for this guy who is not those people, who is not the typical good looking, successful guy or the detective or whatever, the kind of typical, companions that I think you would typically see in a type of movie like this. And then her like falling for this guy who everyone just, complains about being very immature or so out of touch and things like that. So I think it did help to kind of like make her ultimate story shine and be kind of like the central focus. That's kind of how I'm taking it right now, I guess.
Yeah, I think I'm sorry, Bob, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I don't know if this really correlates necessarily to what Justin was saying, but like there is a sequence where she turns into basically Tinkerbell. So I don't know if there was like a Peter Pan aspect.
Tinkerbell.
They were trying to riff on there, where like the bigger scientist guy is like sort of childlike. Other than that he's like brilliant, but like maybe there's an aspect of them not wanting to like grow up or something,
See, that's what I was gonna say too. Is like, well, not that exactly, but I think that like her whole arc. The more we talk about it, the more it kind of like makes sense for me. She is a very in life, very controlled, very, she's a pillar in her job, and she's, respected and all those things. It seems like she's got her shit together in a way that Tokita definitely doesn't. So when we find out that that they have like they're in love with each other or whatever, and when we see her and Paprika like disagreeing on what to do in the dream world colliding with real world, and they have to like rejoin themselves. I think that's like, if there's a message to be had there, I think it's like finding balance between, being a responsible person and having whimsy in your life. So like her being in love with this very whimsical, like almost blinders on childish type guy, while being kind of the opposite. It's like an opposites attract sort of thing. And we see that same relationship with her and Paprika. And when they come together, that's when they create this like baby thing. So maybe there's something to that. I don't know. I think that there may be something there going on. Now, what I would complain about maybe is that I don't think that there's a whole lot telegraphed about Tokita and her having any sort of like romantic anything going on until they just explicitly basically tell you that. Like,
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
they do have that one scene where he's like, he's trying to fix or create a new device, and she kind of like freaks out on him, which is the only time where she kind of shows that type of emotion. And so it could be implied, like, why do you care so much about this guy? Like, no, she doesn't freak out on anybody else. You know, she doesn't show any type of involvement in anybody else. And they do have a couple scenes together beforehand, which nothing I wouldn't have guessed anything was going on, but it kind of makes sense in hindsight, but yeah, at the time I wasn't even clocking that as anything as part of the story or anything like that.
It definitely seemed like inserted at the last minute to me. Like, they did have scenes together, and like, you're right, they did have that scene, but all of that seemed like the way that it's portrayed, the way that it's explicitly told to us, is that she and the other characters are upset with him because he is got his blinders on. He's not thinking about the ramifications of what he's doing. He's focused on all the wrong shit that's causing all of this to happen in the first place. His blindness to those things is causing all this. So she has a very legitimate, non-romantic reason to be pissed off at this guy. And so does pretty much everybody. And he's just like very unable to cope with that or deal with that. So he just says like, I'm not interested in that. And he just keeps doing shit that he shouldn't be doing that's not helping anything. So like, I don't know, like, to me it seems like somebody who's like very talented, and like the rest of the movie, every other part of the movie is jokes at his expense. Like when they're talking about him or around him, or talking about how he is a problem in some way. So like, I just don't, it just seemed very out of nowhere that she suddenly is like in love with this guy. To the point where she is willing to risk her life and the future of the world, I guess, on saving him, even as he is largely responsible for some of the shit that caused it. Yeah. So I don't know. That seemed very, very left field to me.
I agree with that, Randy. There is definitely a through line here where like as we're talking about, it's becoming a little more clear. Like the dream child, you know, is sort of like the key to figuring out the point of this whole thing. Like the baby being born in the dream at the end is what basically saves the world. The movie that Paprika recommends the cop go see is named Dreaming Kids. There's the whole Tinkerbell thing that we already mentioned. And there's also there's a ton of butterflies in this. And I know butterflies are some sort of they're like a symbol of like rebirth or life after death. So there's like this childlike
metamorphosis,
newborn kind of like theme throughout this movie. I don't know exactly what the fuck that means with the dreams and everything, but I think that's
I think it's
like key.
Yeah, I think Randy got it to it well too, of the combination of, you know, when it's the key of the success is when her and Paprika, they're separated. They come together, and it's kind of like that acceptance of like the balance again of like who you are and like who you want to be, or your dreams or aspirations or your kind of like fantasy dream world that kind of creates this longing or resentment or this thing that's like where the real world might be keeping you from these things. Like, you know, if she was in love with this guy, but like the way that she is, she's controlled, she's respected, whatever, that's keeping her from that. But in the dream world, she's free and she's, you know, sexy or flirtatious or whatever. And just kind of like reconciling those things within yourself is like the key to becoming. And even like the idea of the child is kind of like, I don't know, like the birth of like, if she's with this guy, there's like a child that's born or whatever, if she's able to accept that of who she is and what she wants. And then like, that's the key to it. And it's the same. And it's important to have the cop because it's kind of the same thing as he keeps going through these same dreams. And when he gets out of it, they're able to logically look at it like, okay, I know what this means. And like, oh, I know what this means. Like, look at this picture. Okay, yeah, that makes sense to me. But it's not until he like plays down and is able to like accept it, what it is, that he's also able to move on too. So where this movie starts off with this idea of this thing is designed to help you get through therapy. To kind of like get you through this situation. I think that's kind of the key. Is it's like a therapy session essentially.
I know, yeah. I think there's like there's two modes happening here, and where they exactly intersect, I'm not entirely sure. There's the mode of like finding balance in between fantasy and reality, finding like it's important to dream about things and have fantasies and dream big and all that shit, while also having a one foot on the ground, so to speak. So like there's that, but then there's also like this thing where I don't know, it's not just about the fantasy, it's about, I don't know, I'm like word souping here, but it seems like huh?
Eat the mic.
Oh shit. It seems like there's that, and then also there's the therapy angle where you see like the detective, like his dreams are marred with trauma that he's not able to understand. He has to put it into a different context. He has to remove it from the context of a dream, look at it objectively, re-enter it a few more times, and then like through virtue of needing to help his friends, his colleagues, whatever you want to call them, he finds a way to overcome his trauma and realizes, oh, this is because I feel guilt about my dead friend, not finishing this film we made together, all those things. But he would be happy with me, you know, becoming a cop too. Like I became a cop because I wanted to, you know, finish the story that we never finished and all that sort of thing. I think that's all really cool. I don't know exactly how that overlays on top of the balance of whimsy and fantasy and reality. I guess it's just this whole movie, I guess, is just sort of like talking about teetering on that line and how I don't know. I think that I definitely feel like I feel like I have a better understanding of what it's about now than I did when I started this podcast. Certainly, just talking it out a little bit.
I told you I'd explain it to you, Randy.
Oh, senpai.
But
you're going to tell me that I'm wrong?
I also think there's this element to it too. It kind of reminds me of kind of like the Triforce idea of
nerd.
I know. But the idea of there's this thing, and it kind of is, if you're able to get your hands on it, the world kind of becomes what you have internally. So, you know, when the doctor's in it, she's completely focused on using it as this tool for therapy to help people, but she also uses it to kind of project herself. Like we said, in this world, she has this alter ego that's completely different from her. She's free. She's very flirtatious, you know, and all of those things. But when this other guy gets it, even from his very opening scene, he's talking about being like this gatekeeper, the controller or whatever. And then by the end, I mean, his whole thing is like, I'm the keeper of dreams or the ruler of dreams or whatever. And it's kind of like the aspect of power. Like, and even with the other guy, his little minion guy, his guy kind of uses it, but ultimately just to get to the woman. And the guy tears him apart for that. Like, oh, you're going to throw away this power just for the sake of a woman. So for him, it really is like, it's like fucking Ganondorf grabbing the Triforce, and then the world becomes like all about him controlling it through power. Whereas when other people were a part of it, they were using it for different means that weren't like that negatively focused. Or so that's like kind of where I see like the world kind of falling into this peril, is because the one who's in control of it, that's what he desires. That's what his projection that he's putting onto it or whatever. That
plus the technology and the way the unintended consequences of having dream world and reality start to like override each other. Even before that becomes like a true thing that happens, they're saying like, oh, I'm getting to the point where I don't need the machine to like enter other people's dreams. And it's not like they kind of like unlocked like this mass dream that can be projected to other people. It causes several people to accidentally kill themselves and shit, like who as they have delusions, like our the short doctor, whatever his name was. And like, I don't know, like that's all very interesting. It's just, I don't know. I think that what he ultimately wants, the bad guy, our Ganondorf, is just, it's the same old like authoritarian playbook of like, well, if you want stability, the only way to do that is by building the walls yourself and maintaining those walls at all costs with an iron fist. And so he's taking something like whimsical and formless and fitting it to his own form by force. So it's almost like antithetical to what he's trying to protect, that he's like building this world that cannot be altered outside of his parameters, he hopes. But it's the whole appeal that he's supposedly protecting is the ability not to have that happen, you know? So I don't know. I think there's like a lot to be said about like I don't know, people using imagination for the wrong things, people using it's like, I work in advertising, like using creative thought to do something evil is something that is often built into advertising, propaganda, all those sorts of things. Like
Randy
in order
gets paid to do it.
I mean, I like to think that I work with the people that aren't quite so callous, but
that's
a question.
In the beginning.
That's a question for the priest. Maybe not. I don't know. No, I don't know. It's. I don't know. I find that interesting the more I think about it as a villain. Like that was kind of my biggest question, is trying to understand what the positive and negatives, what the good and bad was at the end of the story. And I think that we kind of found it, if I like at least one that I find compelling. So I don't know. I feel better about this movie now. But I think like
you're welcome.
Looking at the broad animation and all that stuff, though, it's worth watching just for that. I think I'm
There's
so
some
glad
really
that this
cool
was the
sequences.
poll that this got onto. It makes perfect sense having seen it now. There's just some really fucking impressive shit when they do that. When the detectives runs down the hallway and it starts like bunching up like a rug, the whole hallway starts that is so fucking cool to me. And that's not even like a 2D cell animation thing. That's a 3D thing. But the way they do it is so fucking good. It's like taking the tried and true, like I forget what you call that, but the telescopic lens shot where the foreground and background start to like reverse each other. Mm-hmm. But it's doing it
one's
like
moving in, one's moving out
on a whole other like level. It's really great. Shit like that I really love. And I kind of agree, Justin, that like the parade itself, like I think that the parade serves a very important function of being like emblematic of the chaos. And it's always kind of in one location. It starts branching out as the movie goes on, and that's kind of the problem. But like it being like this like chaotic thing that just sort of is in your dreams or is in dreams, I think, I don't know, it's a lot to take in, and they show it a lot because it has to like it's basically a dark cloud moving about the story. You know what I mean?
I kind of liked
more
it.
circusy than that.
Oh, really?
I mean, I liked it too. Like visually, it's fucking great. But I didn't have but it is chaotic, and I can understand feeling overwhelmed by that and a lot of the other things in this movie.
I thought it looked great, and there's also a very specific like carny sound that they play while it's moving about. Yeah, and that track is like haunting and kind of whimsical at the same time, and I thought it just like fit the vibe of the movie like perfectly. I really liked it. I thought it worked.
Specifically with that and like the parade and the music linked together, but then also other things too. I just kept constantly thinking, how did they come up with this? I really just kept thinking, whose brain did this come out of? Because this is nuts.
They do
I say the same shit about fucking Mario Brothers, though. It's just sometimes things just come to you.
Drugs.
You make them happen. Yeah,
I guess
sometimes
so.
it's drugs. That's the famous theory.
Maybe
for Mario,
it's
certainly.
drugs.
It's always
maybe
drugs.
It's drugs. That's the only way things are created is with drugs.
Yep.
A message
That's how
from
this
Straight Chilling.
podcast gets it.
I'm on shrooms right now.
Yep. I'm really
I can't
tripping hard
cast
right
unless I'm fucking blasted.
The colors, Duke! The colors!
Blasted in the ass.
Bob.
I don't know. I think
Every time we can't.
I
have
also
one
like-
respectable cast.
I won't allow it.
but just
it's not in the file.
just to speak to what you were saying, Justin, I think I prefer, given the choice, like moments where something starts to become off to like for example, okay, or this is like also very chaotic scene where you have Paprika like sort of flying around trying to find this lab assistant that's worked for to whatever Tokita, and who they suspect as being like behind all of this shit. And she finds like this husk of a guy, like that's a very like, it's not as chaotic, I don't think, as the parade, because like there's not a million things to focus on, but it's kind of chaotic in its own way because it's like formless. Again, you kind of like once you I don't know, the truth is sort of like hidden in metaphor a little bit. Like I guess the supposition about dreams in this movie anyway is the same thing. So I don't know, like I'm a little torn about it because at the same, like on one hand, it's like it can be overwhelming to see a lot of chaotic shit, but on the other hand, like that's perfectly in line with what they're depicting, I think.
Yeah. I really think my favorite segment, there's like a lot of great stuff going on here, but I really think my favorite segment is the reveal and the chase. But then, with the guy, he gets up, he's the fucking tree, and then he changes forms and he's kind of like taunting her, like, we're in a dream world, like you just running is going to do nothing for you. She because in that way she transforms a lot too. She becomes a mermaid to try to like, we see her trying to adjust with her powers in the dream world, and you get to kind of see like how powerful she is. I mean, she's able to, shift and maneuver as best she can. But like, I love the mermaid, and then the whale comes up and it's got his fucked up face, and the scene where she's Tinkerbell and she goes in, it looks almost like this beehive, and then she like comes out and it's this body. That's just all that shit, that whole sequence from beginning to end was probably my favorite, and it had the most like darkest stuff in it too, I think, the most unsettling. But to me, it was the good balance between, I know what's going on, but we can still be wild, but there's something to focus on, because like I see Paprika change and I want to see what this guy is changing to, and there's a chase going on, and that was the perfect blend for me, that whole sequence.
I hear you. That was cool. Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of like a Dexter's Lab, where they're turning each other into different animals and chasing each other around for the remote. Like that's the kind of energy it has, where it's like just they become anything, but it's still a chase no matter what they're doing.
Yeah.
That is kind of cool. I don't know. I would say that some of the like as much as I love like the detective subplot, like things like Tokita, I understand. I think that he's just meant to be basically like, I don't know, like pathologically incapable of being an adult about anything. I understand that, but I don't know, like, what's his relationship with his lab assistant like? Like, what are they like? I don't know. I'm unclear what his motivations are from moment to moment, which is not true for Paprika or her alter ego or whatever, or the bad guy even. And then similarly, like the guy who sells his soul or whatever gives up his body to become powerful in the dream world so he can get with the female doctor. Like, I don't even know what the fuck that dude's deal is. Is he just like obsessed with her this whole time?
Butterfly
I guess?
Man.
And it's just,
he's just an evil prick that shows up, and we're like, oh, okay. It's just
I don't know why that character needs to be there. Really,
that's a fair question.
Well,
it could just be the other guy.
Well, there was one thing that was implied.
It doesn't need to be a love issue at all. Like,
well, yeah. Well, there was one thing that was implied that I didn't fully understand the mechanics of, and it seemed like the bald guy who couldn't walk somehow, or like for some reason, needed an able-bodied person to do this, and I'm wondering if it's because if he's using them as some kind of buffer, because when they find the guy that they think is doing it, the lab assistant, when they find him, they're like, he's just a husk, and he knew the risk if you wear this too long or whatever, blah, 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 blah. And then when we have the other guy, the rapey guy, Butterfly Man, the guy specific is like, no, you can't do that. And like, I need your body, or so like these lines are dropped, but I don't understand the mechanics or the need for it.
See,
I don't understand
agree.
what's happening there.
Yeah. That's where like some of that exposition falls apart, because it's like, you've got this, like exactly everything you just said, plus the thought that like this guy, like the idea that he needs an able-bodied person, is his goal to take over that guy's body in the real world, and then when the real world and dream world collapse, it doesn't matter anymore because he's able to walk as this like ghoul guy, giant fucking ghoul man. Or is like, and what's in it for that other guy? Like it just, I don't know. And like you said, like the mechanics of the first kid, the lab assistant being a husk, like it's like he was mined and drained by our actual villain. So maybe because he needed the rapey guy, like the villain needed the rapey guy for a body, he didn't drain him completely. He instead propped him. I don't fucking know. That's the thing, is like,
I don't know.
And like those don't seem like necessarily thematic beats that are to be interpreted. They seem like mechanical problems that we're just kind of left wondering about. I don't know that there's a meaning to them. I think there's just an absence of mechanical understanding, exposition.
I think they do enough to like drop lines that like that's why it's necessary, but we don't know why.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, and I don't. I feel like they could drop that whole character and have, Mount Baldy or whatever, like slice open her paprika, whatever, and then have the detective come in and save the day after, realizing his power or whatever, he found his dream power, man. And
he did.
Then he like fucking saves Paprika, and then they become separate people in the real world, and then recoalesce, and that's what saves everything at the end of the day, philosophically, and like from this
Freddy
guy
Krueger comes in and calls everyone.
Yeah, that dream child drops a dream child on your ass.
Dream warrior.
You guys want to go and rate this thing? I think we touched on just about all of it.
Yeah,
that we can, anyways. Let's go ahead and do it. Out of 5, Randeezy, kick us off. This was your pick.
What?
Yeah, I know, right?
You never let me go first, and this is like a hard one.
It's so hard.
Yeah, I think that I definitely have a better understanding after just like getting to talk about it for the first time out loud. Like talking about it helps, certainly. I thought it would take a little bit more than even this podcast to get there, but I think we've talked through a pretty satisfactory explanation that I just wasn't getting on the first viewing.
Pretty smart.
But yeah, I think that this was ultimately I enjoyed this movie. I think that I enjoyed the animation a lot, like a lot. Like, and I'm glad that it won this poll because it was so much of a visual feast. It provided things that most like live action movies could never even remotely accomplish without a fucking 3 Marvels movies worth of fucking budget. And that would basically be animation anyway. It just wouldn't be fucking 2D awesome animation. So yeah, I liked that about it a lot. I was really engrossed in it because of that. I had a hard time following it, but now that we've sort of like, I think, found some core philosophies here, I think that it holds together a lot better than it did for me immediately after reviewing. So it's kind of puts me in a position where I'm trying to figure out what a appropriate score is. I think I'm going to give it a 3. I don't think I like this as much as Perfect Blue because like the ultimate impact of it is not. It's undercut by maybe its own ambition. I don't know. Like I was not able to get fully immersed because I was left with so many lingering questions. So those climaxes, those moments, they really didn't land the way that I think that they were intended to for that reason. So that's kind of the big drawback here. And I think there's some things that could maybe be removed from this movie, or maybe I need to like dig deeper and figure out more about like the rapey side doctor and like where this Dr. Tokita romance came from. Like those are things that I'm like, maybe there's a philosophical meaning behind it. Certainly the latter one has a little bit, but I don't know that it's even readily apparent enough for me to get like outside of like talking it through. So I don't know. I think a 3 is fair. I'm still left a little bit middling on this because of those issues, but ultimately I did enjoy watching it and I've enjoyed talking about it. So 3 seems right.
Cool.
All right. 3 from Randeezy. Juice, what about you?
Bob? Okay. I was going to let you go, but yeah, the thing about this movie is it was tough for me to get through, but in the way that I described it, I think that's like the appropriate way that I feel about it, where I feel like this is a delicious dish. It's interesting flavors, but it's also very, very rich and dense, and it's hard for me to like work through it. And it's something that you almost kind of have to like prepare for. So some things that we kind of didn't really touch on. I find the kind of floatiness, the music that pops in when Paprika kind of comes in, and it's this, very kind of cutesy poppy J-pop sweetness to it. I find that pleasant in like the small doses. So when it like triggers and when she's flying through there, I'm like, yeah, okay, let's fly around. There's a pleasantness to it, but it can become oversaturated. And it's weird because I'm not a big anime person, but when I get it in these small doses, I find it very enjoyable for what it is. I find it very particular. Like Japan has tapped into this. It's like its own thing going on. And I find it very curious, but also at the same time, it's not something I can consume often because it's just a particular flavor for me, and it's positive, but a lot. And I like the creepiness vibes of this. I would say that my main characters that I like Paprika and the doctor and the whole main arc. I like the kind of side story of the detective. Everything else is a little bit less for me. And even the love aspect, I like that that's where she needed to end up for her own psychosis. But the development of that other character and like who he is and what he represents, that wasn't as strong for me as much as I just enjoyed kind of like the main character's journey. This does get a little rapey. It felt a little Reanimator-ish where it was like kind of unnecessary for that to kind of like take place. But I don't know. It was weird, but
there's Japan. I wanted to bring this up, but I forgot. There's also like the Roots scene where it's a little tentacle porny at one point in this movie, and it's kind of upsetting.
For sure. And that was kind of more the transformation thing I was thinking too, because that was the rapey guy. So like that's what he kind of transforms into as well. So
that's like I thought that was like Baldy, but they're kind of the same. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard confusing. But so yeah, it's a mix for me. I would say I'm mostly more positive on this, and the things that are bringing it down are it's very overwhelming. And some things just like don't make sense to me, and it could on a rewatch, but I'm just not super eager to rewatch it. But overall, I like it, just in small doses. So I think ultimately I'm going to end on a 3.5 for this one.
All right.
Bob, over to you. Out of 5, what are you going to rank Paprika?
Well, I feel like this movie's just kind of like unfocused. It's what it feels like to me. There's just like a whole lot of stuff going on, and some of it feels like fluff. Like I don't know that really like helps pay off in the end. Visually, I think it's super wonderful. It looks amazing. I don't know like really much about anything anime, but like it was a blast to watch this visually. And I think the soundtrack was pretty damn baller as well. The overall point, like I guess I just even after this conversation where like it becomes a little more clear. I don't know that the juice is ultimately worth the squeeze on this one. It rings a little bit hollow in the end. I don't know, the Inception like concepts, and like one of the characters, I forget which one, says something along the lines of like, planting dreams in somebody else's mind is a terrorist act, and like that's like a really interesting thing to ponder, and the way it sort of plays out on screen is amazing visually, but it just feels like a little too all over the place at the end to really be a fully satisfying watch for me. I think I'm going to come in a little lower than you guys with a 2.5 on this one, and that's going to put our aggregate at a 3 even.
Ooh, quick!
I was right.
Randy is correct. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into our Rotten Tomatoes segment and see what the critics and users think about Paprika.
Certified. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Rotten Tomatoes segment of the podcast. And the way this works is I'm going to have these gentlemen guess within the best of their abilities what the aggregate positive score is on RottenTomatoes.com for Paprika, starting with the critics and then moving on to the users. We have 92 critical reviews of this film. Bob, I'm going to start with you today. Where do you think that aggregate score lands percentage-wise? 92.
That's kind of a tough one. Do critics like anime? I don't know. It is from Japan, so Americans are probably very enthralled with it.
And it's got Yabos. Oh, by the way, I should have clarified. I don't give half star for animated Yabos.
Man of
I
principles.
was wondering. I know.
Oh.
Nobody's putting themselves out there, So
Corpse Yabos, fine.
it's just a sweaty dude in a room somewhere drawing some
Yeah,
Yabos.
it could be a woman drawing. You have no idea.
Could be. That
Somebody
doesn't
with their
change.
own Yabos.
Yeah. I guess
These are my Yabos.
give this a 60%.
60%.
Sure.
All right. Juice, what about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go a little higher and say maybe I'm a man of the critics this week and say 70. What my score was.
70. All right. Well, I'm going to tell you this. Nobody was all that close.
Oh no.
There's a 15% gap between the correct answer and what was given. The correct answer is, of course, 85% certified fresh. Juice is going to take this one.
Oh yeah, that's a hell yeet, Bob. Wonder how you say hell yeet in Japanese.
They don't say it. They don't.
I think it sounds like this.
Spicy.
So
That is definitely a Japanese person on that bump, for sure.
yeah,
Oh,
of course. So we'll move on to our user rating now. The audience score is roughly 25,000 ratings large. That's quite a number. Start with Bob on this one. I'm sorry, start with Juice on this one. Where do you think that those 25,000 ratings place this movie?
Oof, that is hard to say. I think this one could dip lower than the critics, but it was pretty high. So 85. So I'll stick with my 70.
70? All right. Bob, how about you?
I don't know what people like anymore.
They changed what it was.
Yeah, no, I'm living in a nightmare.
Used to be down with it.
Now I'm not.
It'll
down with
happen
it
to
anymore.
you.
It used to be the sickness, and now I don't know what it is.
What do I be down with?
It's probably, I don't know. That's a lot of people, man. This is a weird movie.
Yeah.
Definitely lower than 85. I got to think. Is it lower than 70? Let's be cynical and say yes.
Okay, that sounds lovely.
I'll go with a 65.
65. All right, so almost no changes on your choices here.
Yeah.
Again, nobody is particularly close. Actually, further,
90%.
17% gap here, and Bob.
You're saying 17%.
17% gap.
Gap,
again,
yeah.
rather than 15 last time. Bob, you are not going to take this one either. It's 87%. 87. Much.
I don't appreciate you playing with my feelings like that.
That's
Look, that's what gets the views, buddy. This is. You never seen American Idol? They do that shit all the time.
You are
You're not going to Hollywood.
loser.
Fuck you. Get out of here.
Your
you are
parents
giving a
are
hell
disappointed.
sweet.
Are you calling a cootie queen, you lint liquor?
You cooter
All right,
queen.
lint lickers.
Bob, you got to go as a cooter queen for Halloween.
I don't
That
know
should
what
be-
it looks like.
I think you could figure it out. There's a lot of knowledge.
I think
There's a lot of
so.
samples to pull from just from this show. All right. Now, as we always do, we're going to read a couple of negative reviews and see if they make us laugh or not, basically. Here we go. Is it sci-fi, fantasy, idiocy? Mostly it's a droning mess. pretty to look at, but confounding to the point where you just don't care anymore. I love it when a movie. I love it when movies like, or when people are criticizing the shit out of something, but then they have to give it to them on one hand. Like,
yeah,
it's like I guess it's great to look at. They did really fucking good on this, but
also
sucks,
too, it's too
though.
confounding for me to think about. So I just gave up.
I don't
gave
care.
it a negative score.
Yeah,
It's
a
their
negative.
fault.
Okay. All you need to do is listen to Straight Chillin', and we'll explain it to you.
And give us a 5-star rating on iTunes so that we can start
for
writing
making
our
you
own
look like
fucking
a
bullshit.
fool.
Here's one more negative review. With a conventional invade dreams / bend reality plot, it's a bit of a bore. I don't understand what's
That has
conventional
to be
about
a
this.
joke.
Like, that's fucking ridiculous to me. Like, there's a handful of movies that
just
do
like-
that at most.
That's a
and they're all
troll.
I've
pretty
never
different from each
seen a
other.
movie quite like this.
That is a troll. Nothing conventional about this fucking movie.
conventional.
Yeah.
Like paint by numbers, really.
I see it
Really,
every
this is
day.
this is the exact same as Nightmare on Elm Street. Exact same movie. You just go
Going
watch
into
that.
Dreams, you know,
I mean, shit.
They
pretty
have
standard shit.
The knife glove hands and the fucking burnt dude with his
Simpsons.
hat.
They really just went
First.
down the list and checked it off. Guy who says bitch, burn victim, long arms.
Who says
If they had some dude like in the corner just go
would be
bitch, I would have lost my shit.
Dude, if they snuck in like in some of the overly detailed like frames of this, snuck in like Freddy Krueger, I would die happy. He snuck in a Perfect Blue poster, so why not?
Oh,
There's
I
some,
would
there's some
die
Easter eggs.
happy.
I would die a happy man in my dreams.
But if it's not in this movie, I'll die unhappy.
that's true. That is true.
Randy,
All right,
do you have
that's
any
our Rotten
regrets?
Tomatoes.
Lived a long, fruitful life.
My on my headstone it will say should have put Krueger in it.
Where's the Krug?
I need the Krug. That's all I need.
Isn't that a coffee maker?
The Krug maker. Man, holy shit. I mean, if they ever finally make another like Nightmare on Elm Street, when they finally make one, if they make a dumb joke about a killer Keurig, that says Kruger on it, I'm going to laugh.
Oh my God.
I'm going to laugh. And I'll tell you what, I will die happy.
I want a coffee machine in the house that says "It's done, bitch." Like when it's ready to. Oh, coffee's up.
Damn, that'd be awesome.
That would be
The future is bright.
trademark, motherfuckers.
Yeah, trademark. We got a lot
Trademark
trademarks
of this-
out there.
This very
Trademark
well
franchise.
trademarked character.
Wes
and
Craven
phrase.
said we could have it, so it's fine.
Oh, Wes, he told me in a dream, so you know it's good. It holds up. All right, that's it for Rotten Tomatoes. Bob, what do we got coming next?
There's like no trivia on this movie, honestly. There's
Really?
all
That's
Totally not
surprising.
time for trivia.
Yeah,
All
it's-
right.
Oh.
totally not time for trivia, but let's talk Cooter of the Week.
Straight chillin'. Cooter of the week.
Juice, what's a Cooter and why do we hunt them?
Oh, Cooter's a character type and a straight chillin' exclusive. Cooter must hit 3 of these 5 points to be considered a Cooter, but we want the Cooter with the most points. The 5 points of Cooterdom are sexual deviance, manipulation, smug arrogance, overall looking attire, and overall patheticness. Boys, I think there's a clear Cooter. What do you
I
think?
think so.
I think there's
I
like
think the movie.
a double
Go ahead.
tap for this one.
I think so.
The chairman and his butterfly man henchman dude.
Yeah, I was going to go
Butterfly
Butterfly Man for
kisses.
sure
Yeah.
because I think this is not one we typically start with, but I think the overall patheticness is going to hit higher on this guy.
It's
Well, I'll
pretty
tell you
high.
what. The movie does our work for us because they literally combine those characters into one guy.
Yeah,
It's true.
So
yeah.
It's true.
I say we lock up the little root monster with butterflies around it because
But yeah, him
pathetic
being
high.
like the henchman, you know, kind of and
Hypotheticness.
being manipulated by this guy and being, I just think he's got, well, to get to stick on the patheticness point,
Right.
I think that might take him a little higher on the point scale than the chairman. But it's definitely, sexual deviance. Checkaroni.
Check.
He sticks his hand literally into her gooch.
Yeah. Through the skin.
And all the way up her body, and
Yeah.
I don't
it's
like
rough.
it.
It's rough.
That was
I
weird.
do not
That was
like
weird.
it.
Yeah. While she's pinned down like a butterfly. That was fucked up.
That was really fucked up. Yeah.
And then unzips her skin. Revealing
And then we've got
the naked woman inside.
Look in attire. He's got an old bald piece of shit
Yeah.
wrapped around his whole life. So not
You
a good
don't?
look.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have
fingers.
I don't have a Voldemort in my soul personally.
You should get one.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
sure,
that tree wraparound thing was definitely got
Dude,
way
that
too
was
tentacly.
too fucking much.
Wow.
Yeah, I did not like
Yeah.
that at all.
Not good. Not good there, Japan. Not good there, Japan.
Just really letting your freak flag fly in all
If
the
you
wrong
want to
time.
fuck a squid, that's your business. Okay, that's.
I think it's
that's
so funny because they killed.
fine.
It's like they go to extra pains to show Paprika's character as not overly sexualized.
Yeah.
She's a little flirty when she's doing a thing, like when she's trying to convince the older doctor that he's in a dream and try and break him out of it.
They show that
Shit
she's
like that.
highly desirable, though.
I guess, but they don't. I don't know. She's not wearing nothing. She's
Yeah.
wearing it seems like she's
Regular
just
clothes.
kind of a person, kind of like a self-assured pixie dream girl, if anything.
Literal
Whoa.
pixie at one point.
I know.
Oh boy.
Oh god.
We know
What's our
that
last point?
Rainy
We got
didn't
looking
like
attire. What do we missing?
So sexual deviance, smug arrogance.
Oh, well, the old guy covers that. Actually, they both do
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
that both of them that guy's trying to form reality and dream world around his own fucking bullshit,
All been there.
shit. And then meanwhile, the other guy is willing to basically sell his body, his soul, whatever else to this guy for a chance to dig into this woman's fucking psyche and make her his in some way.
Also, yeah, what was up with that beat where she was taunting him or breaking him down, where she's like, you sold your body to blah 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 for
Mhm.
I was like, what are they talking about?
I'm not entirely sure, but I think
Okay.
that it's what's happening to him and what's happened to that lab assistant seem to be related in some way,
Okay,
but they seem different. That's the part where I get lost in
I
it.
feel
You
it's
know?
like
Nobody really knows.
okay.
Yeah,
Little
I don't think that
sexual
any of us are.
undertones there.
But yeah, but I did I think I took it as at least in the moment, I took it as her taunting him as I don't know, anything to sort of she's
Yeah, throw
trying to
him off,
be strategic about P-Deuce
Sure,
situation,
sure.
shall we
Of
say?
course. I didn't understand what it meant. I was
yeah,
whoa,
I
that
don't either.
sounds
I don't understand what
Um,
that's supposed to exactly
yeah.
mean. But,
The
so yeah, I think they hit
and-
all levels of Cooterdom.
Yeah.
The
this
P
duo.
Deuce situation is such a specific thing to say.
I have a P-Deuce situation every
You
morning.
need to
actually,
be
but that's a
familiar
whole
with
different thing.
every single one of our episodes to
To get
completely
all the
follow
jokes. Go
with
listen to our
conversation.
P2 review, and then that might make some sense to you.
For
I mean,
Christmas.
even that sentence
Wait
doesn't
for
make sense to most people who don't know that that's a movie.
Yeah.
Yes, that is
So,
true.
So yeah, and
Yeah.
then manipulation,
Obviously, manipulation check.
on
For
both
sure.
counts. Yeah,
Planting
So,
dreams.
Yeah, we got 'em.
into
We got a
dreams.
5-star Cooter on our hands.
We got a 5-star tag team Cooter team here.
That's a ringy
Good
ding.
God. Lock
Whoa.
his ass up.
Lock
Cooter
him
We don't
tag
want
team.
him.
In this house.
All right.
All right.
Good job
We got
there.
'em.
Good job, boys. Whew.
What's
All right.
up, Bob?
You know what's up? It's time to talk about what we've been watching this week.
All right.
Hey gang, what you been watching?
Randy, it sounded like you had a pretty short list. Was there anything else you wanted to mention?
Yeah. Not really. I honestly, I've had such a chaotic work week and other things interceding, so watching stuff really hasn't happened for the most part. The only thing I have watched has been The Mist in black and white, and then I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom in a few gaps here and there where I can, which is, as always, great. So nothing much to add to this week.
All right. Juice, what about you?
Well,
wait. You know what? No, that's part of the festival. Never mind. We're going to talk about it another time.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Go ahead.
Another festival on our hands there, boys.
Oh, boy.
Kind of.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, as I mentioned before, this weekend, I got to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is perfect summer horror movie. It's so fucking sweaty and dank and but yeah, it's
Don't
good.
touch
Holds
that
up.
dial. You need to hear this.
Holds up, of course. It's interesting watching it with people who've never seen it before, but also you become really like self-aware. Or I was a little, with other people who aren't horror fans, just kind of like looking along. So I'd be like looking
Is this
around
okay?
and like people
Are
just
they- yeah. Are we all okay in this building right now?
Then also to watch Whispering Corridors, which this is like a kind of it's big, but it's also, I would say, like a hidden gem a little bit in Korean horror. So this is came out in 1998, and this is kind of the thing that kicked off the idea of like summer horror films in Korea, because they just happened to drop it in like the end of May in 1998, and it just so happened to blow up. And because of that, it became this trend of like, oh, well, we'll just release horror movies in the summer. And so that's kind of one of the reasons why we wanted to cover it. It's good too, because as I was doing research for the film, I found out that, before that, Korea had a lot more stricter regulations on film and stuff like that for a period up until the mid to late 80s. I think around the Olympics in 88, there was a bit of like a military dictatorship going on in South Korea. And so the 90s, so that broke down, but then like the 90s was really about a time of like tearing down a lot of those regulations and censorship and stuff like that. And so in a way, like Whispering Corridors really kind of kicked off the big wave of films that we were able to get in like the early 2000s stuff, a lot of stuff that we praise now, Old Boy and The Host and stuff like that. So it's really interesting, like from a historical standpoint, and it's not super accessible. I will say though, one way that I found that was a good way to stream it if you want is Hoopla, which is I guess the thing where you can use your library card. Luckily I had my library card here in Korea. I was like, oh shit. And I was able to use it even in Korea. Like a lot of streaming services have restrictions like Netflix and stuff about where you're from and like where you're at, IP and stuff. But it worked. And so if you want to watch it and you have a library card, it's available on Hoopla. So
nice.
You can check it out there. Yeah. It's like a ghosty kind of flick, and it's got some good stuff to it. Also too, man, watched Homeward Bound.
Wow.
Really?
Yes, from the 90s. So this
I watched that movie so many fucking times.
Me too. That was a big time road trip movie. So when I was a kid, my grandparents had one of those old style vans, not minivans, like fucking bulky ass vans that had like a TV in it. We could hook the SNES up to it and a VHS, dude. Yeah. So Homeward Bound was like one of those movies where we go on road trips. You're watching fucking Homeward Bound. And I will say it's on Disney Plus. Dude, I think it held up pretty damn good for a movie that came out when you're a kid and you have all this like nostalgia value to it. I thought it actually held up pretty good. It had some feels to it, especially if you're like a pet lover, you got a dog or something. Like I thought that it actually held up pretty well. And bonus, sneaky Halloween film.
Ooh,
yeah.
really?
I don't know if you remember the scene. There's the scene where they think that they found the pets and they're going around to all the kids and they're like getting the kids and they're like, Jamie, we found him. And the kid, he's preparing for a Halloween play and he drops the pumpkin and it like splats and they're like, sorry, we'll buy a new pumpkin. And they're just so excited to get the pets or whatever. Yeah, dude, sneaky Halloween. And like there's there's some autumn leaves and stuff going on. Oh, so that was just a cool way to, I know we're in spooky season, but to like get me super excited, because also I really have just been getting that itch. I know it's the end of July now, but I also went back and listened to some classic Straight Chillin' Halloween episodes. So I listened to Beetlemang, which is the one that always kind of kicks it off for me. And I was also listening to Halloween Ends and Halloween Kills. I was going back.
Just the bitch fest.
Damn.
Yeah, so, but it was definitely getting me in the mood hard for spooky season. So I'm super excited now. And Homeward Bound was just kind of like the cheer on top. I was like, it's Halloween. Look at the autumn leaves. Yeah. So, and yeah. And
show grief your fucking tits.
And then as a side to that, I was realizing, like, I was like, holy shit, there were so many either animal movies in the 90s or sports movies. And then sometimes both, like Air Bud. Yeah, because I was thinking
oh my
about
God, yes, Air Bud.
I was thinking about Little Giants, Big Green, Mighty Ducks, and then I was thinking about Free Willy, Andre, Air Bud, and all those things. And I was like, man, what a fun time!
What a time
with all those movies.
What a time to have been alive.
Yeah.
Now it's just all Paw Patrol. The kids don't know.
Anime.
It's their fault. They're out of touch.
It's their
and Babe,
fault.
dude, Babe was a big one in the 90s too.
Big in
There's
the
a lot
city,
of
baby.
animal ones. Yeah.
Dude,
So-
Baby's Day Out. Baby's just fucking on their
These
way. throughout
baby
the city.
geniuses.
Yeah. Look who's talking.
Oh my God, Baby Genius is man, that's a movie that I wish I could
That's
wipe
one
from my
my
brain.
My brother watched the shit out of my like younger brother. So
Honey, we blew up the kid.
dude,
A movie whose title does not accurately describe the film.
Just
no. So yeah, that's mostly what I've been watching. It's been a pretty good week of watches. Bob, how about you? What you been watching, my guy?
a fair amount of stuff. I finally got to watch The Blackening. I went to the movie theater to watch it, and I did record a mini cast on that, so that'll be coming out soon.
Good.
Pretty funny though. Overall, pretty successful. Better than I thought it was going to be. I'll say.
Good.
I also watched this show on Netflix called Quarterback. It's like an 8-part series. It's about
hockey.
That's exactly what it's about. It's about like last year's NFL season. They follow around 3 quarterbacks, and it was produced by Peyton Manning, and they just follow like 3 quarterbacks throughout the whole season, and they get into like everything it takes to be a professional quarterback in the NFL, and it's super deep dive, and they interview like their wives and then their families, and
Who do they follow around?
Mahomes, fucking
Not Mahomes.
So you watched the whole
I
series,
did.
huh?
Kirk Cousins, just blank. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and then the dude from Hawaii. I forget his name.
From Hawaii? What team does he play for?
He was on the Falcons, and then he is on the
Matt Ryan
Raiders now or something.
Oh no,
Yeah, he was the backup quarterback. They drafted like 2 quarterbacks in the same draft. It was a weird situation where he should have been a first round pick, ended up being like a 3rd round or something like that. So he was playing second fiddle to Matt Ryan. So they didn't focus on him as much as Cousins or Mahomes, anyways. But those were like the 3. It was super interesting. Mahomes was definitely like the star of the show. He's they won the fucking Super Bowl. Yeah, surprising to hear, right? But it was interesting. I got a good kick out of it, and it was a nice way to sort of like get me psyched for football, which starts very soon. Yeah.
And Old Glory waving.
It's coming.
Indeed. I watched Oppenheimer as well this weekend. And
What's that?
Yeah, I know. Nobody's ever heard of that.
Oh, how was it?
The new Chris Nolan joint. It was super good. Amazing acting, great cinematography.
A sex scene, Bob.
A couple of them. It was there's a lot of nudity.
But were the yabos drawn? Because that's not gonna fly.
Just everything's real except the
It just breaks into animation on just the sex scenes. Yeah.
only the Yabos.
They can
Out of
only
respect for the decency of the people in this theater, we won't show you real yabos.
they could only afford Florence Pugh's voice, but not her body. So everybody else is in the movie, but then there's just a drawn
There
woman.
you go.
Yeah, it was good. It's super bleak, which can be expected. Cillian Murphy
Is it a horror film?
Did a
Bob? Would you
fantastic
say
job.
It's a horror film.
Cillian, whatever.
No, it does have one scene that is full blown a horror movie though. It taken from a horror movie, and It took me off guard because the whole movie has like a very steady, like methodic kind of pace, and it's very dialogue driven, and it'll be like intercut with like these really beautiful sort of like swirling molecules and just sort of abstract stuff. That's like, I guess, what Oppenheimer sees in his mind or what it's, I don't know, but then at a certain point, it just makes like a hard left turn into like a full blown horror scene.
Damn.
And it like made me clutch my pearls a little bit because it's really, it like kind of, it's jarring because that's not what the rest of the movie is at all. But it made me wonder, like, dude, what if Nolan just made a full blown horror movie? Like, holy shit. It was a really effective moment.
That would be cool.
Yeah, do that, dude. Do that. I also watched the all-time classic Mac and Me because it's been a while since I've seen it.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. You going to McDonald's after?
How was that, Bob?
Had to go to McDonald's immediately after. It's fucking not particularly good, but enjoyable.
All right.
Watch it with folks.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
That is
Bob.
all that matters. It's a wild E.T. knockoff if you're unaware. And there is a riff tracks that you can watch with it if you are so inclined. I'd probably recommend the riff tracks. It would enhance it.
It stinks.
It stinks. The last thing I watched was a movie called Sisu. You've seen a trailer for this? Are you familiar with the movie at all?
I watched it. I meant to record a mini cast on it, but I haven't yet. Ugh.
Oh yeah, it's that's a lot of noises, man. It was good. It's billed as like John Wick, but the dog doesn't die. I saw somebody say that somewhere.
Bob, spoilers. Come on now.
The dog dies. The dog gets murdered. Or maybe it doesn't. I don't know.
I have not seen any of those movies.
Watch the movie. It's good. Action. A lot of gore. World War II movie. A lot of Nazis. Just in everything.
Fucked up.
Yeah. Nazis
in life now. Speaking of dreams, and speaking of fantasy world and reality colliding. Oh no.
Oh no.
The perennial villains are back.
Yay.
Oh no. Hey, at least it's clear the villains are.
That's true.
At least that.
Yeah.
At least
let's get into this piece of shit.
Dude, that's an old bump. Yeah, Sisu's pretty good. If you want an action movie, dude fucking up a lot of Nazis, check it out. A lot of gore, pretty horrific. Yeah, that's all I've been watching. We do have some voicemails this week. Let's go ahead and get into our Hotline Screams.
Hotline Scream.
If you are listening and would like to call and leave a voicemail for next week's show, hit us up at 904-638-3231. We got 2 voicemails. First up, we're hearing from the librarian. Let's hear what she's got to say.
What's up, mothers and fuckers? So I'm calling not to answer the animated horror prompt because, to be honest, I don't know a lot about that. I'm calling in defense of Bo Wasserman because I am insane and saw Beau is Afraid twice in the theater. And I know I'm going to sound more insane, but I think it benefits from a second watch. Stay with me now. I know that means another 3-hour time commitment, but I really loved it after a second watch. It's honestly my favorite 2023 release, and it's only because I watched it twice, because trust me, I was with y'all after my first viewing. I was like, what the shit was that? And mind you, my first viewing was due to A24 pranking me. I showed up to the local Alamo Draft House to watch Midsummer, but instead they were like, LOL, happy April Fools, everyone go piss now. So, I don't know. Maybe give old Beau another shot. I'm also an Ari Aster stan, so I'm definitely biased, but yeah. Anyway, I love y'all. The bumps get more and more hysterical every episode. The timing is dead-ass perfect. Also, just for update's sake, I have read 84 books this year, and I am currently rereading Nick Cutter's The Troop, which I love. It is Lord of the Flies meets an infectious worm parasite. I cannot recommend it enough. Do not eat spaghetti while reading it. Yeah. Mwah. I love y'all immensely, so bye!
Dating back, it's
Librarian,
cool.
I love you, but I mean, it's late July now. Only 84? I mean, I feel like we're a little low this year.
Sleeping at the wheel.
That's an insane number of books. Jesus Christ.
I want to know who eats spaghetti when they're reading anything. Is that happening?
Who eats spaghetti?
I eat big bags of spaghetti wherever I am, do whatever I'm doing.
You carry it
Just
in
a big Ziploc of spaghetti. Yeah. Yeah,
Just
that's what you do.
do.
Charlie Kelly style.
You just like pour it out of the bag down your gullet. Just
No, I get a fork. I'm not an animal.
Oh, okay.
Out of the bag.
Okay.
I just have a nice Ziploc bag full of sketty.
There you go.
Got a
Bomb
Sasha
sketty.
sketty right here for my lunch.
Ooh, I do not want to rewatch Bo.
I don't either. Not anytime
I like
soon.
even like I really, enjoy Midsummer, and that's like I have to gear up to rewatch that one,
I'm not in a particular hurry to see Beau is Afraid again, but I think I'm definitely not as sour on it as you guys are. Like from what I can tell, I think there's a lot to it that you could glean. Certainly on a second viewing would make sense. I'm just not ready to make another time commitment like that when I've got so much other shit going on. But I appreciate people sticking up for it because I think it's a very unique movie, and I'm glad that we get to have those kinds of movies and not just everything as flat as it could be.
Yeah,
as flat as a white man.
Well, A24 is the only one who's going to be making movies apparently. Because they're the only ones who can fucking agree to the damn. I was proud to see that.
Yeah,
me too.
I know people throw some shade at A24 because the way they deal with horror movies, but man, good on them.
No, I don't fucking care. Like,
If they're the only ones who are cranking out movies next year. That's
if
fine.
Asylum Films agreed to terms, I would be praising them just the same because it's the right thing to do. So
pay your fucking employees.
Don't steal their likenesses, you ghoulish motherfuckers.
Motherfucker.
I don't think Beau's Afraid's a bad movie. I just did not.
I don't either.
I did not enjoy it.
I don't think it's a bad movie either. I just can't bring myself to watch it again.
It's an anxiety trip.
Yeah, maybe next year. I'll watch it again eventually, I'm sure. But like, damn.
When it comes out on Steelbook Mark III,
and it's
you might
5.5 hours long.
You got like the 10-year anniversary edition with
I don't want
an extra 3 hours
of that fucking movie. It is long enough. Holy shit.
Buddy, not wanting it's never stopped you from buying something. I'm just telling you. The collection must grow. The monster must be fed.
Oh, Randy, you don't even know. Thanks for calling, Librarian. Always good to hear from you. Keep up the fucking reading rainbow over there. God damn, that's a lot.
Yeah, damn.
Good on you. We do have one more voicemail. We're actually going to hear from an anime stan. Let's hear what they got to say.
There we go.
Hey, boys. Just calling in to use my animated horror recommendations. I've got a couple of good ones, no movies, but some series, anime series that are pretty good. So the first one is called Another, which takes place in a middle school. It's a classroom, and it always has to have an empty desk in the class. And when the class is full, everyone dies, and basically it follows that plot line where all the seats are full, and then it basically turns into a Final Destination situation. But obviously, there's just no holding back on the gore and brutality of it, which is one of the things I enjoy a lot about anime because they don't hold back. I guess they're not worried about the stigmas and things like that. Anyway, there's another one called Corpse Party. This one's kind of just brutal for brutal sake. Ghosts killing a bunch of kids in crazy ways. That one's just there for that. And then my favorite recommendation is called Devilman Crybaby. It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. But it is fantastic. If you can get past the animation style, it's amazing. it pulls on your heartstrings. It's got that brutality, the horror. It's all about a guy possessed by a devil, and he starts fighting other people possessed. It's so good. But anyway, keep up the good work, boys. Sorry, I know this was rambling, but keep up the good work, guys. I love the show. Hashtag soft with soju.
Oh man,
soft serve soju.
You gotta amp up your after dark content, Juice, so your boys can be less soft.
Apparently, I mean, as long as that's okay with HR, that's really just my big
well. We'll run it by. We'll run up the flagpole and see what comes back.
Sorry, Randy denied.
Thanks for the recommendations. We didn't catch his name, right?
No,
didn't drop.
I know who that is. Y'all know? Yeah, I think so.
I don't.
Oh, okay.
I mean, yeah, they've definitely left voicemails before, but I also, if they don't say it, like, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I know who it is by name, but I won't call him out. But I'm pretty sure also that's our boy who took, I think it was LSD and almost ate his wheelchair bound neighbor.
We've all been there.
Yeah, y'all remember that story?
Dude, I do now that you mention it. Yeah,
I had blocked that out, but
that's a crazy story. Took like LSD, and luckily there was one sober friend that just like keep them from eating their neighbor.
Yeah. They had a babysitter that really came through.
God damn.
Yeah, that's we had
crazy
voicemails on this show.
I'm pretty sure that's our boy.
I think.
Regardless, thanks for the recommendations. Some of those sound nutty as hell. I feel like I gotta like check them out and see if there's like what the conceit is in more detail. I think before I land on one. But I have seen that Devil Man. I've seen that advertised a few places. It must be on Netflix, I guess, if it's a Netflix series.
That's the thing, man. I watch like movies pretty much every day, and sometimes I just step back and I'm like, there's still like, I don't know shit about anime films. Yeah. I don't know shit about like Hong Kong films. I don't know shit about like these niche, they're just like, there's so much shit. It's crazy.
So much shit.
It's crazy.
There's too much media, man. Stop making stuff.
Dude, maybe we just need to take
the indomitable spirit of creativity needs to fuck off.
Next year, you're gonna get what you want, man, because Hollywood's fucking.
I'll be able to catch up next year. Oh, I forgot to mention. I'll mention it next week. Another what I've been watching. Fucking
put it on the list.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for calling in with some anime.
Nothing to that conversation.
with some anime recs. Maybe I'll try and check out that Devilman thing. It's on Netflix, and it seems like it was the highest recommended. So, easy to come by as well. So that, all right, yeah. Some anime, some more drool rings for you, Randy, for you to.
Oh, you know how I love drool rings.
Drool rings are my favorite. Again, if you guys want to call in and leave a voicemail for next week, hit us up at 904-638-3231. Do you guys have any prompts you want to throw out for next week?
What's next week? Talk to me.
Talk to me, Diddy. Yeah, new release.
Okay,
in theaters.
New release. Bob and I have already seen this one at a festival. Which so I know what to expect, but I am going to prompt this question: what sort of I don't know if it's really like a sleepover parties, but what sort of like party games did you play that you think like maybe other people haven't played or whatever, haven't heard of, with your friends when they were over at night, or when you had like you had an impromptu little party with your parents away or anything like that? If you've been in situations like that, there's some of that going on, and talk to me. What sort of like little games did you have? Light as a feather, stiff as a board, Ouija board. Tell us about it.
Ouija. Know what that always makes me think of? Not necessarily the same, but similar idea. Is when we used to play Manhunt. That show is so fucking fun.
That was fun,
and kind of a little bit of a adrenaline trip too, because we would play it around our local college campus when it was dead of night, no one around, but still unlocked.
And they just didn't lock shit up.
Yeah, they didn't lock shit. Well, because they also had some practice rooms there.
Yeah,
like for some of the instrument. So
He would
every
just
now and
haul
then
ass
too,
through the
it would be
halls.
it would be like 2 a.m. dark, pitch black, but then there'd be like some creepy music
tuba
practice going on.
Blowing their horn. Yeah. He's full-blown wind sprints down the hallway running from each other.
Yeah. That was a big building too. It was a 2-story building. It had like a big stage and auditorium.
With grand pianos
So many
and
times I
shit.
pressed the elevator button just to cause confusion.
Yeah.
Make my escape.
You
so many times.
slut.
That was
I
fucking
am.
fun as shit.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, good times.
Now I'd probably break my ankles, hip, and everything else just trying to fucking do that
damn.
shit. I'm an old bish now.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
Put me in
still
the
young.
grave. I'm done.
that's a good prompt. I like. Yeah, if you did like a Bloody Mary or the Candy Mang chant into the mirror or whatever, let us know.
Or if you went into a room you weren't supposed to, dare, like truth or dare, any of that shit, any cool stories from anything like that, any cool games, tell us about it.
Yeah, did weird shit ever happen? I want to know about it.
Did anybody ever wig out at one of your sleepovers as a kid? Anything like that? Tell us about it. I know I have night terrors, so I have been that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, call in.
Confirmed.
Call in and let us know. And watch Talk to Me. Get ready for next week's show in theaters this weekend. It's a new A24 horror movie. Speaking of A24, Australian directors. Check it out. It's Randy mentioned we already saw it. It's worth watching. We'll say that, and we'll talk more about it next week. Until then, as always,
that's what a boy likes.
All you mother truckers, please keep chilling.
Spicy.